guys, this is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News coming to you with the nightly news rundown for Monday, April 20th, 2020. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time tonight. So, as before, we definitely want to open up with an audience question. Now, what happened going into the weekend and over the weekend is that we heard the news that Congresswoman Val Demings has said herself that if approached by Joe Biden to be the VP pick, she is ready to step into the job. So our question for you is, do you feel that Joe Biden will pick her? Will he pick her as his VP, as his running mate? Do you feel she's the best one for the job? Because her saying that comes on the heels of Stacey Abrams saying that she's willing to take it, and more recently, Senator Elizabeth Warren saying that she wants the job as well. So what do you guys think? Do you think she's the one for the job? If not, let us know who do you think Joe Biden will pick. In the meantime, here's a quick clip of then campaigning Val Demings, who was campaigning for Congress in 2016 when she spoke during the 2016 Democratic National Convention.
Together with women and families all across our nation, we will show the world what this statement really means. When women succeed, America succeeds. Thank you.
So what do you think? Do you believe she's the one for the job? Sound off in the comments below. We definitely want to hear from you. This is a hot button topic for a lot of people. So we look forward to the colorful conversation. For COVID-19 updates going on today, you've probably heard the numbers by now, but according to the World Health Organization, we're upwards at 2.3 million confirmed cases with nearly 158,000 deaths globally. Here in the United States, there are over 723,000 confirmed cases with over 34,000 deaths, one of which we'll talk about in a moment, which is particularly unfortunate. And according to the Florida Department of Health, we here in Florida are over 26,000 confirmed cases with nearly 790 deaths. With regards to that special death I'm referring to, it's a young girl in Detroit, the daughter of first responders. Her name is Skylar. She's 5 years old, the daughter of a police officer, mom, and a firefighter father. Unfortunately, she contracted COVID-19 and also a rare form of meningitis, meningoencephalitis, which causes brain swelling. So while suffering with the symptoms of COVID-19, she was also fighting that disease. Towards the middle or towards the end of March, she was on life support. And as of Sunday, her parents decided to take her off life support when they saw that her signs of improvement had stopped. So they had to make the unfortunate, difficult decision to let their daughter go. Skylar is the first child death from COVID-19 in the state of Michigan. So many condolences and sympathy to the parents there for that. So for those of you that are out there, please continue to stay safe and continue to wash your hands, wear your PPE wherever you can. And to that point of wearing PPE, staying safe, and venturing out, the topic that has been top of mind over the weekend heading into today was reopening. And not just here in the United States. This is a topic that's been going on in various countries around the world. Now, the World Health Organization is cautioning everyone that reopening does not mean that the virus is gone or that everyone is free and clear to return to normal. What they're saying is that this is one phase of the process, because according to the head of the World Health Organization, he's actually saying we're heading into the worst of it because he's seeing swells in Africa of the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, in various countries, here's what's been happening. In Germany, Sweden, and Slovakia, the workers are back on the assembly line producing cars, putting cars out. In Australia, in one particular city, they have reopened the beaches, much like here in Florida. Certain beaches have been reopened here in Florida. Not very many people are happy about that. And in Denmark, the dentists, hair salons, and physical therapists are actually back at work in the country of Denmark as well. Things are not business as usual, of course, because everyone is having to very carefully wipe down their surfaces and practice social distancing. which is primarily the stipulation for any company that is reopening in this time right now. The key is to revive the various economies, but the caution is to follow what the health officials are saying. Now, here in the US, Boeing and Bobcat, two major manufacturers here in the United States, they reopened their plants on Monday to bring in furloughed workers, not only to help revive the economy, but also to help the workers get back to work, reinstate their livelihood while practicing social distancing, as they mentioned. Now, there's been a lot of pressure coming down from the president and from various concerned citizens as well. There have been citizens marching on their various state governments, including Ohio, Michigan, Virginia, Kentucky, and even here in Florida. Last week, there were several citizens that marched on Orange County, demanding for Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings to reopen the county so people can get back to work. However, as he shared during the press conference that particular day, the safety of the residents of Orange County are far more important than, he wants to reinstate the economy, but he wants to also make sure to do it in a way that is safe. And the cautionary tale with those who are protesting is that not everyone is practicing social distancing or wearing protective equipment. There are some individuals who are still without gloves and without a mask. So that is, of course, a concern. First Amendment rights are, of course, important. But as we heard from Mayor Demings last week, it's not a great idea, in his opinion, to put fellow residents at risk by not using protective equipment while exercising the right to peacefully protest. Now, in other news, on the business side of things, we'll be covering it on two fronts where COVID-19 is concerned. We'll be covering the safety side and the financial side. So starting with the safety side, as of Monday, Walmart and Publix declared their workers to be required to wear masks to work. On Publix's end, they promised to supply their workers with the masks, while Walmart is allowing their employees to bring in masks of their own as long as they fit the CDC requirements. Publix also stated, though, that if their supplies run out, if the masks run out, then their staff members can bring in their own masks. The interesting thing here, though, is that neither Publix nor Walmart stated anything about requiring to wear gloves. And given the shopping environment, that's rather important. The other measure that both have implemented, however, are plexiglass to separate between customers and the staff. So hats off to them for implementing that, but I believe the next step should be bringing in the gloves. Now, on the financial side of things, Wells Fargo is currently under fire. As of Sunday, there was a class action lawsuit levied against them from a California-based company on behalf of small businesses. The lawsuit alleges that Wells Fargo actually reshuffled and redistributed the funding that they got to be able to distribute the Paycheck Protection Plan funding to more larger companies. The lawsuit is accusing them of prioritizing the larger companies because they stand to earn millions in revenue from processing fees as a result. Now, Wells Fargo declined to comment on the situation, but the lawsuit points to a particular disparity given Wells Fargo's reporting to the SBA for the distribution of the PPP loans. They noticed a shift between the loans that they issued from April 3rd to April 13th to the loans they issued April 13th to April 16th. So the plot thickens where that's concerned, and the Wells Fargo class action lawsuit is actually one of several that were levied against several big banks under the accusation of wrongly or unfairly prioritizing larger companies, particularly for Wells Fargo's case, because they initially stated that they were going to prioritize distributing the loans to companies with employees 50 or less. So stay tuned for more developments on that. Now, on a positive side, of the business story where the PPP is concerned. We heard that Shake Shack, they made an announcement on LinkedIn Sunday night in the wee hours of Monday morning, technically, that they were actually going to refund all 10 million of the PPP funding that they received. They didn't quite expect the PPP funding to go dry as quickly as it did, which was Friday. This past Friday, the PPP funding ran out completely. By that point, Shake Shack had secured alternate funding. So because they were fortunate enough to secure that alternate funding, they decided that they would go ahead and return the funds to the government for the sake of small businesses who they feel are in more dire need of the funding right now. So hats off to Shake Shack for stepping up and thinking of the smaller businesses who have not yet been able to access the funding. And even their staff at Shake Shack had said that the PPP funding came with no user manual and was very confusing to understand. But now that they were able to secure that funding, they decided to give it back. And there's been a huge outrage with regards to several of the larger chain restaurants receiving that funding while the smaller businesses haven't yet. Roots Chris was another beneficiary, and they've come under fire, mostly in the court of public opinion, of course. But given the smaller businesses that need the funding, that has been a sore spot for a lot of Americans. Now, moving on to the entertainment side, if you, like me, or many of us in the world, tuned in on Saturday, you likely saw the One World Home Together concert put on by the World Health Organization in partnership with Global Citizen and Lady Gaga that actually provided, amazing entertainment from some of the world's best stars. There were dozens of stars. It was a very long show, and the music was absolutely touching. They gave their own tributes. And as I'm sure you've been seeing by following your favorite stars on Instagram, on various different social media channels, we got a chance to peek into their homes, got a chance to hear their voices and hear just how much they love humanity and how much they want to see the world be able to heal from COVID-19. Now, the proceeds they were able to raise was $127 million in total, with $55 million going to the WHO's Solidarity Response Fund. So definitely congratulations to Lady Gaga, the WHO, and Global Citizen for having a successful campaign in recouping the funds, raising more funds to be able to continue to work towards stopping the spread of COVID-19. Now, in national stories, right before we get to the sports, in national stories, what you may or may not have heard is that over the weekend, totally unrelated to COVID-19, is that there was a rash of severe weather in the Deep South. And this is off the heels of Easter weekend, where there was a severe rash of tornadoes that came through and ravaged many homes in the Deep South. The ones that hit this weekend hit primarily Mississippi and Alabama and a little bit of Georgia. So in Mississippi, there were unfortunately some who lost their homes as a result of the severe tornado that did come through there. In Alabama, there were certain parts of Alabama where the rain had been 8 inches of rain per day that the rain was falling. So very severe weather for those folks. And there was one confirmed death over the course of the weekend, which was the unfortunate loss of an elderly lady in Georgia who, as a result of the severe weather, lightning struck her house and the house lit on fire. So unfortunately, she passed away in that incident. So while COVID-19 does take up a lot of our brain space, a lot of our consciousness, a lot of headlines, there are more things going on throughout the country. So if you are a person of faith, definitely keep praying, then do send good vibes, whatever it is that you deem necessary. But our nation needs it. Folks around the world need it as well. And for any nonprofit organizations that resonate with you, be sure to definitely donate to those organizations. There's a lot going on in the world right now. And once again, as a reminder, we heard from the World Health Organization that Africa is now experiencing a swell in COVID-19, and that's on top of them dealing with a second wave of locusts. So a lot going on in the world right now. Definitely stay safe. Lastly, as we wrap up, sports update. the thing that's top of mind in sports is the NFL draft, which is coming up this Thursday. So all of your favorite teams will be doing this virtually, so you can catch them on social media. The Jaguars, for example, will be doing their live coverage on Instagram Live, so you can catch them there. And speaking of live, if you'd like to catch the live coverage that we'll be providing through our sports folks, definitely tune in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for Casey Hudson's FNN Sports Take. She'll be doing special NFL draft coverage this weekend. Congrats to Casey for that. And that does it for us here tonight for the Nightly News Rundown. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your time. And we definitely want to release you to your night. God bless and take care.